Hello and welcome back to another episode of You Want to Do What with Dan and Julie. Today we've got Jenny on, who is a videographer. Hi, Jenny.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to
Thanks
meet
for
you
having me on.
too. Oh, our pleasure. Do you want to tell everyone a little bit about what you do, Jenny?
Yeah, of course. So my name is Jenny Alice. I am an award-winning freelance videographer, editor, and photographer. I create high-quality videography and photography content. So this varies from e-commerce to advertising, property, product, commercials, music videos, and everything in between. So quite a varied job that I have. But yeah, it's good.
So where did this whole sort of journey start?
So I started using cameras for my media course at high school. And I would spend most of my weekends filming content and editing it because I enjoyed it so much.
Mm.
And then I basically went on to study film and TV production at university. And once I graduated, I got a media job for a marketing company. And I would do like photography on the weekend. I did a lot of wedding videos alongside my full-time job.
Mm-hmm.
And then basically I decided I wanted to travel the world a bit more. So I worked on a cruise ship.
Oh, wow.
I traveled the world as a photographer and videographer for over 2 years. And I went around the world doing that, which was good.
Yeah, sounds cool.
um, yeah. And then when I returned to the UK, I worked my way up the industry. So I started off as a camera assistant and a runner for production companies across the UK. And then I went to work as a freelancer for the BBC.
Oh, wow.
And then, because of my marketing history from when I got my first media job, a company reached out to me and offered me quite a good opportunity in a marketing company.
Mm-hmm.
So for more stability, because obviously as a freelancer, it can be quite difficult at times. I took the job at the marketing company. However, I just missed being able to be creative
Mm.
and the thrill of being a videographer. So wasn't a big fan of sitting in the office all day. So I quit my full-time job and I went fully freelance. And since then, I've been able to work for global brands, and making that decision and leaving was probably one of the best things that I ever did. So short and
Wow.
sweet.
Yeah, I was trying to explain because I was at work today and somebody asked me, who are we talking to tonight? And I tried to
Mm,
explain, what a videographer is and what you can now do and how this career wasn't necessarily available 10 years ago. And how you've said it there, working with brands, you're working with the likes of BBC, you can work for marketing
mm.
companies. It's such an incredible industry that's really just starting to grow now, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like with technology, it's becoming a lot more accessible to more people. With editing software as well, it's become a lot more affordable for people to kind of dip into it, which is a great opportunity for a lot of creatives that you no longer need to, pay thousands and thousands of pounds. It's more affordable, which is really good because it allows people to start somewhere and to create a portfolio and to get their foot in the door, which is really, really good. And you're seeing a lot more of it now with like the Sony A7 S3 and things like that. They're a lot more affordable for people that maybe aren't ready to fully commit to a production
Mm,
company, and they can do something on the weekends or at home and then just
mm.
build their portfolio from there.
How much of it is from when you sort of first started to where you are now as a professional? The level of skill versus the level of quality of equipment you have. Like, did
Mm.
you see that your skill in the industry is actually better at creating something than actually what the technology is?
I think with this industry, it's very easy to get caught up with the latest tech trends and newest cameras and releases. And, there's always going to be something better around the corner. But at the end of the day, it always comes down to skill and what you know. The, the best videographers I know, they have a handful of equipment and they're very happy with what they've got. They don't really upgrade as often as maybe a lot of people think. I think it's too easy nowadays to think if you buy the best camera, you'll be able to film the best. But sometimes it's just time to go back to basics and to understand composition, camera movements, and just the simple things. And you'll notice if you give a skilled videographer, say like an entry-level camera, they'll be able to create something that's probably similar to someone that might have a more high quality camera. And there is the argument that obviously certain productions, there are levels that you need to have certain equipment for. So at the end of the day, it's really what you're shooting for, what the client needs, but it does mainly just come down to experience and skill.
Do you think learning those and developing those skills, is that something that you sort of self-taught, or how easy is it for someone to teach you something like that? Because it's obviously very creative and it's all in the person's eye. How was it for you to learn and improve at your craft?
So when I went to film and TV production at university, that was something that I went to it because I wasn't sure how to get into the media industry, and I wasn't sure what part of the media industry I really wanted to go into. So I went there, and it was a really amazing experience. I learned a lot, but it was more my independence that I learned and meeting people. I wouldn't say that I left university as a skilled videographer at all. I think the actual industry in itself is a lot different to learning about it at university. And I think for me, the way I learned was more just self-taught and being hands-on. So just getting out there and filming, and then making mistakes and thinking, you know, I've made this mistake, how can I correct that? And that's the best way to learn. And as much as people hate failing, sometimes you need to make these mistakes to grow and to figure out, okay, I'm not going to do that again, you know. Or, you know, you see all these artists or these really successful people, and you see where they are today, but you never focus on the amount of times that they've failed in the past, or the products that they've created at the beginning compared to what they're creating now. I think it's very easy to look at someone and see where they are and get disheartened, where, you know, we all have to start somewhere.
I think we're super guilty nowadays of chasing like perfection. Everybody thinks they're going to be perfect as soon as they start, when in actual fact, like you say, the most well-known people for their crafts are probably the ones that failed the most, and they've just learned every time. Yeah,
definitely. It's especially in the media industry in itself, you have to be resilient, and you have to be okay with people, you know, saying no. And especially as a freelancer, it is tough, because there are, you know, times where business will slow down, or you'll get loads of business at once. And it's literally just doing it is the first step. So just taking that first step and thinking, right, okay, where can I go from here? And once that momentum builds up, you'll find that there's more opportunities coming your way, and then more things that you can film. And then when you want to film, say, a property video, you'll learn, you know, what camera lens should I use for a property video, you know. And then by doing that, you're like, okay, right, I need a wide angle lens, you know, what's the best one for this one? And through that, you'll be able to figure out what the best equipment is for you. And you'll learn it a lot quicker by just getting out there and filming and learning as you go. I'm a very practical learner, I'd say. I like to, you know, do something and figure out how to do it rather than read about it. And I think in the industry I'm in, it is a very hands-on industry. So it works hand in hand for me in that sense.
So being a videographer, what is the average day for you? Obviously there might not be an average day, but some of the tasks that you have to do.
What is an average day like? That's a difficult question to answer. There is no really average day.
Yeah, just some of the tasks that as a videographer, you know, you need to do, whether it's pre-shoot, what do you actually do at the shoot, those kinds of things.
Yeah, I mean, because I run my business myself, when I am filming, obviously I'm not only filming and editing most shoots, but I'm doing all the marketing and social media myself as well. So every day I try and learn something new, something that will bring my freelance career one step forward. But But like I said, everything I do everything. So it's from like planning, pre-production, and then what equipment I need, lighting, post-production, admin, everything is under one roof. And I think a lot of people don't realize that when they go to be like a freelancer or work for themselves, that it's not just filming. It's contacting clients, it's building rapport, it's networking, it's selling yourself, it's marketing. So there's a lot more to it than just, you know, filming videos for people. Yeah.
do you enjoy that sort of side of it, having a slightly rounder package, not just being the videographer, but also learning about business and developing your own business to what you want it to be?
Yeah, I mean, I've always wanted to work for myself. That's something that I always wanted to do, probably since I left university. And that's why when I went and got my full-time job with security, just didn't feel like it fulfilled me enough. So I decided basically to work for myself doing something that I love, which, you know, is videography and photography, and that's my passion. And when you have a passion and you want it to work, and you have other things you have to get through and deadlines and stuff, it makes it a lot easier and makes you not want to give up, if that makes sense. So I definitely recommend, if anyone wants to work for themselves, that they choose a passion, because it's a lot harder working for yourself than it is you know, working for someone else. And sometimes people just want to leave the full-time job without taking into consideration, obviously, you know, running a full-time business is, you know, it's everything. It's the things that not everyone wants to do, you know, the admin, the emails, and so on.
Even with all the admin, the emails, being a videographer in itself, you're not behind the camera totally. You've obviously got you're in front of a computer doing editing, planning what it actually is going to be. How much of your time is actually spent using a camera?
Yeah, I mean, so when I contact clients, I'd say probably like two or 3 days a week, and then I try and edit the rest of the week. When I say that, I work pretty much all the time. So I mean, it's probably not healthy recommending this, but I'd say probably like I try and film like at least twice a week, so that I'm still keeping you know, on top of my skills. But a lot of time is spent, you know, editing and on your computer, and it's really important, especially when you're editing, like, you know, you get out the house, because you can get cabin fever if you edit for too long, you know.
but that's a whole different skill set in itself, being able to edit your work in a successful way, I suppose, isn't it, that you have to learn?
Yeah, I mean, I think because I have experience in marketing, it's quite useful when editing promotional video content for brands, because it's a lot easier for me to notice what would maybe stand out to clients more than other people that maybe haven't done marketing. So in that sense, I do feel quite lucky to have that background. But editing, the thing about obviously editing it and videography is that the thing that I quite like is that everyone's got their own kind of take on things. So you could give, you know, 10 people the same footage and everyone will edit it completely different. And it's more just finding your style. And once you find your style, and the clients that you attract will like that style. So it will be a lot easier to create content and to edit it than, say, if you're trying to edit it to be something else and then to try and change your style to something else.
That's actually a really interesting point. How did you sort of develop your style? Was it something that came naturally, or did you sit down and think, how am I going to do this?
It's literally just time. Like the more you edit, the more you film, the more you'll find, like, okay, so, you know, I like filming this or that. You know, I get people saying, how do you find your niche? And the only way that you find it, the same way that the only way you find your passion or things that you enjoy, is by trying out lots of different things and finding out what makes you tick and what you enjoy the most. And that's why it's always good, if you're not sure what your passion is yet, to try out different things, you know, and try out different jobs. If you're in your 20s, you haven't really got that much to lose, you know, just try out different things and see what you enjoy.
100% agree with that. Not enough people say that or tell everyone that, because I think at school we're all told you must go to university, you must get a degree, and you must do X, Y, and Z. But in actual fact, one of the best things you can do, in my opinion, is go and try loads of things. Like you say, you just go and try different jobs, try marketing, try working in finance or whatever takes your interest, and see what sticks. Because like you say, in your 20s, you're so young still.
Definitely. Like I have had a few different jobs, and it honestly, when I got that marketing job, I was thinking, right, settle down, I'll have my full-time job, I can, buy a house, and I've been traveling, I've done it all, I can do a bit of videography in the role and it'll be fine. And the more I was there, the more I realized, no, like this is not what I want to do, this is not my passion. I missed the creativity. I missed having meeting new people and creating content. And I realized, like, I've got nothing to lose. I'm still in my 20s. Go for it. And it was it's definitely something not to do just ad hoc. I mean, mine was pretty ad hoc looking back at it.
Do you think that's the best way it worked for you, though, jumping straight into it? Do you think if you eased yourself in, you wouldn't have been as successful?
I think a lot of people, we tend to look at the worst scenario of things. I can never get a job again, or what if it doesn't work out? And of course I had these thoughts, when I left, but then I also thought, what an amazing opportunity to restart my entire career and do something that I love. And there's a thing where I heard someone who basically they trained to be a lawyer. I think it was like 6 or 7 years. I heard it on a podcast somewhere, and after they did all the training and then they got their, you can be a lawyer now, they were like, I don't think I want to do it anymore. And her family said, oh, you spent 6 years training, why waste it? And she said, 40 years down the line, 6 years doesn't seem that much.
It's very true.
So I do believe, like, everyone has like that passion and that thing that makes them tick. It's just going out there and finding it.
No, 100% agree with that. You mentioned earlier about networking, and obviously you talked earlier about all the different places and brands you've worked with. How did you begin to go about building that network so you could find clients on a regular basis?
Okay, so I went to a lot of networking events, and I also just contacted a lot of people. So I know that it can be quite daunting emailing people and ringing them up, and I know a lot of people don't like to do it, but I just set myself a task every week to contact a certain amount of people, and I would basically just knock on doors. And then once I got a half decent portfolio built up, I just started promoting myself through social media and contacting brands through social media, and it's just became quite an organic thing now, where I don't necessarily have to contact people anymore, whereas I used to spend a lot of time trying to build my clientele, and now it's at a nice place now where they kind of come to me instead. So it's a lot easier at this point, but it definitely at the beginning, it's just getting your name out there, getting your show reel out, making sure you've got your social media account, your website, and being quite like loud, I'm a freelancer, making sure people know about you.
Yeah, absolutely. What would you say are some personality traits that you see in yourself that you think have really helped you get to where you are in this industry?
I'd say I'm very passionate about what I do. I could sit for hours and watch videos on videography and cameras, and I could edit forever and not get bored. So I definitely think that its passion is one of the most important things. But I also think that you have to be fully committed. So like you're going to have very long days, and I have 12, 13, 14-hour days sometimes. So you really do have to be committed and persevere and be really resilient, because the industry that I'm in it's tough. It's long days. There's a lot of no. And it's very cutthroat, and you have to believe in yourself, and you have to be very resilient, and you have to just fight past all the no's, and you just have to keep going, keep making content. And also that's probably all I can recommend, is just
Yeah.
keep going.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. And maybe thinking on your feet. Sorry, that's probably one of the most important things, is being able to think on your feet and adjust to things very quickly, because when you're out filming, things will happen. Cameras might break, SD cards might not work. You have to be able to adapt really quick. So that's also something that I think is quite important, is being able to look at something and think, you know, what's plan B, C, D, whatever.
Yeah.
what other plan have I got to fix the situation?
You mentioned, you know, you quite like watching other videographers' stuff. And I don't know if you watch them. There's quite a few big group in Canada of videographers on YouTube, like Peter McKinnon, Matty, how you, something like that. I can never remember how to say his last name.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And those kind of people. Do you think that really helps you to improve your own work?
So I do like their videos. The only thing that I find about all of these people that you've mentioned are that there aren't that many females doing it.
Yeah,
it's the only thing
true.
I notice. Yeah, when I go on YouTube and I want to watch, like, you know, the FX3 release camera. Okay, let's watch some reviews. What does everyone think? And I find myself watching 10 or 15 videos of males talking about the cameras. And I think moving forward, it would be really good to get some more females on YouTube. So, like, you know, women, young women can aspire to other women that are, you know, don't want to say kicking ass, but, you know, doing well on YouTube.
You can say that.
You know, that's it. Really.
There is one. I can't remember her name. Lizzie, I think. She's awesome. Lizzie Pierce, I think her name is. She does some really cool stuff. And she's sort of got her own business and works with massive brands. So yeah, I hope the presence, you know, female presence increases. So definitely.
Definitely, yeah. I think that in the next few years, I think there's going to be quite a big shift. I do feel like there's going to be a lot more female YouTubers and videographers. I'm already kind of seeing a lot more already. So it's quite exciting times, I think.
Yeah,
Things can be quite different.
Yeah. And what would you say has been some of the biggest, maybe two of the biggest positives you take out of doing this job?
Okay, so I would say that the positives out of the industry would be the creative buzz that I get from working and filming and editing, and the career satisfaction that I also get from working for myself and happy clients. And the video industry is expanding so much. There's so many opportunities for more people to get involved. For businesses, video content is so important now. It really separates you from all your, you know, competitors. So video is a really good industry to get into, and I'm excited to see where it goes, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I was, like I said, I was talking about this earlier. I work with someone, and nowadays a lot of companies are getting in-house videographer teams, aren't they? And really, you know, brands are building this side out. So it's becoming more and more of a checklist for brands to have this content.
Yeah, definitely. I think that companies are definitely starting to realize how important video content is for them. And it doesn't necessarily have to be, you know, Hollywood blockbuster style videos. It could just be, you know, a simple TikTok. But it is really important. And I think sometimes it's good to have both. It depends what your branding is. But it's definitely something that companies are finding is beneficial for them to have now. And in-house videographers is becoming a lot more common than it was a few years back, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, no one's reading what's going on in a company in the newspaper these days. They're seeing what's going on Instagram.
No, yeah, exactly, yeah.
So for you, what would be some of the less favourable aspects of this industry that you've found?
It's a very demanding industry, very, very demanding, and there's a lot of competition. And the majority of videographers that I know and that are working within the industry are freelancers. And being a freelancer does carry a certain element of risk, and job security is quite, you know, especially now with a pandemic, it can be quite difficult for freelancers and self-employed people, especially with Corona and so forth.
Mm.
So I think, it's very competitive, long days, very demanding, but completely worth it if you enjoy it.
Yeah.
I mean, I quite enjoy. I don't mind working long days, so it's not something that really phases me. So I guess it's each the room, but when you want something to work, you make it work. So.
That's it. We at this point we usually talk about sort of what people could expect average income for the industry, but when we talk about people in the self-employed industry, we just sort of talk about it's important to remember when you go into a self-employed industry that you'll make as much money as you can. It's not going to be a set amount. Like you get a job, you get a salary. Being freelancers, it's kind of up to you, but it's also so many other factors impact on what you could earn, right?
Definitely. It depends on the client, the location, are you doing day rate or are you doing production rate? Like there's a project rate, sorry. There's so many different variables that go into it. I mean, there is like an average day rate for like, I'd say a mid-tier videographer, which would probably start around £350 to £500 a day. That would be for like a mid-tier videographer. Then again, it's still dependent on location. So it really does vary massively. And I think sometimes it can be hard for people that are new in videography or as a freelancer to know how much to charge, but it honestly just comes down to experience, and the more videos that you do and the clients that you have, the more you'll be able to think, right, this is how much I should be charging.
And what would be something that you never expected going into this industry that you have to deal with?
I would say the amount of that I have to sell myself. At first I thought it would be mainly just creating videos for people. And like I said, when you run your own business, there's so many other aspects in it that you didn't really think about beforehand. So you really need to create your portfolio. You really need to market yourself. And, if you don't believe in yourself, then it's really hard to land clients that are going to trust you and pay for you to complete jobs if you're unsure of your own ability. So the most important thing I would say is basically to just believe in yourself, and as cheesy as it sounds, so stay positive. I'm not painting a pretty picture here, but I'm trying to be as honest as possible.
That's what we want. Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, and I'd say probably like the long days. Like, I mean, there are long days, but there are some days where equipment's heavy and it's long days. Yeah.
If you could go back to before you started all this and give yourself a little bit of advice on maybe a skill to develop, what would that be?
Skill to develop.
Yeah, maybe something that's not related to videography directly.
Yeah, I would say what's the right word for it? Self-belief, if that's the right word. So I'd say self-belief, because it's very easy at the beginning when you haven't got much of a portfolio and you see all these other videographers that are very successful. It's very easy to lose that feeling of I can do this. And I think it's really important to not compare yourself to other people and where they're at in their career, because everybody started their career at different times. Everyone's got different amount of experience. Everyone's been through different things to get where they are now. So I would say, if it was me at the beginning, just to not feel daunted and to be excited. And once I changed that mindset and I thought, right, this is the great opportunity. What businesses can I contact? How can I make my portfolio better? That's when I started growing a lot more, rather than worrying about what could go wrong.
Yeah, that's such a good point. But how did you go about sort of progressing in the industry and getting your name into more people's hands and getting maybe bigger jobs? I don't know.
Social media, probably LinkedIn was quite good for the larger jobs.
Oh, LinkedIn.
LinkedIn,
really?
yeah. And social media, Instagram as well was quite good, but mainly just contacting people, just not being what's the word for it, just going for it and messaging the big companies. You know, sometimes you just got to be bold and see what happens. The worst thing that can happen is they don't reply to your email, you know. You just got to send it and see what happens.
And would you still go into this industry knowing everything you know now?
Yes, 100%.
Awesome.
Good. Well, thank you so much for coming on and chatting. It's been a real pleasure, and you're obviously clearly super passionate. And we looked through your Instagram, and so your content's great. So, congratulations on your success so far.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And where can people find you on Instagram, your website, and whatnot?
So my Instagram handle is @JennyEllisFilms, and my website is www.jennyellisfilms.com.
Brilliant.
Cool.
Thank you, Jenny.
Thank you.